Hey, everybody. Let's start right there. Now, Pro, I want you to ask the same question to us, and then we'll get into introductions.
How would you feel if I did a murder to some people that are exposing me?
I mean, I'm fine. I'm an impartial narrator. I come from a OSR background. Let the dice fall where they may. I mean, bless myself.
I don't know about that.
No, so, hi everybody. My name's Grant Ellis. This is the Dracula Dossier campaign. The Dracula Dossier is a highly improvisational collaborative campaign published by Pelgrane Press. They are our wonderful sponsor for this show. It takes place in the game system Night's Black Agents, which is a vampire spy thriller role-playing game. Joining me today are my two pals, Pro and Sharang. How you doing, folks?
Doing pretty good. I'm hyped to be here.
I just mimed how I was doing. But I'm also happy because it's been 2 weeks, right? So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we had a mid-season break. No, we had a 4th of July break, and then we had a grant break, and yeah, so it's been 2 weeks, yeah.
We did have a national holiday here in the U.S., but it was, yeah, so last week we were out due to my dirty mouth, my filthy, awful mouth. I actually had to have oral surgery. Doing much better now. And for those of you that have been watching on Thursdays, we have prepped for this campaign and the direction it's going in. When last we left our intrepid rogue agents, they were in Belgium. They were in a cathedral, and they had engaged some GCHQ, some British intelligence individuals who are tracking spy activity that passes through this particular cathedral. For those of you that have read the Dracula novel, you know that Van Helsing came here to acquire vampire hunting utilities. Our player characters have Van Helsing's kit from back in the ages of yore, 1893, and the clues have led them here. And they have alliances and allegiances with other vampire hunters. And during the conversations, it was revealed that Daequan, played by Pro, is the essentially a member of the opposition force Edom, the Dukes of Edom. And so, we're going to begin out of character, hand on the forehead, out of character. Pro had a question for Sharang, as well as myself.
Yes. My question was, with the two people who have just outed me, obviously we're going to roleplay it, but just out of character, because I like to make sure everyone has consent and has control. How do you feel about me just, not right now, but maybe right now, acing these two people?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like these aren't people who are particularly tied to us. You know, we have not met them before. We distrust everyone. Antal distrusts everyone even more right now because he's super traumatized. So, I mean, he also might not know that you're the one who killed them. He might suspect, right? But yeah, he's also feeling suddenly weird about you because you're like, what? You're part of Edom? What? and there's no Jess's character to like console me.
I definitely want to like play that out though, like that scene that just happens and like everyone turns to look at me.
Rocky, Janet, Dr. Frankenstein.
What's going on?
Damn it, Janet. Also, for those of you watching on stream, if there's any issues with audio, let us know. As you seem fine over here to me, but I do want to make sure that we provide high-quality media entertainment. So, it's played out. So, there's an individual. There is a man with dark hair. Here he is. I'll actually put him up on stream for everyone. There he is. So those of you watching on Twitch will see that the Romanian desk agent, Tarber, is being interrogated by the players, and there is another individual with him, a pale-skinned man wearing sunglasses.
And we're currently in the cathedral by the confessionals, right? If I remember.
You currently are. You're near the confessionals.
So as they say this, and they say you have a member of Edom. They're right there. You have a.
I'm just really confused. I'm like, what? And normally I'm very good at composing. This guy is expert, right? I'm very good at being composed. But like suddenly like that is like what? And I like lose my like cool for a sec. I'm like, what?
You definitely see, as everyone's kind of looking at me. You definitely get like the muscle tension and the twitch of like I'm possibly about to reach for my arm, like my sidearm.
Yeah, I noticed that, right? Because I'm good at tradecraft. I've known you for a while, and then it hits me. I'm like, and I take a step back. Like I compose myself again, but I calmly take a step back from Daequan, and I'm like looking at you, like waiting for you to explain almost.
Clearly. Who are you working for, saying to this person, I am not a duke or a member of Eden? Are you working with Gandalf? Is this what this is about?
We're on Dr. Draw's payroll. You would know, Daequan, that Dr. Draws is second in command of Edom. We report all intelligence that we gather on activities in Romania and report back to Edom, and they agree to not use their leverage against us.
I'm gonna go into my bag that I have. It's kind of like there. Pull out this like, because it's cool spy shit. It's gonna be a pen. And I'm going to just kind of like hold the kind of like ballpoint end of it where like you click it in, and I'm just going to say to the two, hold out your wrists. Let me check this.
Are you going to slice off their hands? Is it just going to laser beam and their hands fall off?
Basically it's like I'm trying to scan, like it's like a scanner to see people.
Oh, I think I poisoned them or something. I'm like,
yeah,
I poison people.
That's my job.
Damn it.
All right, they hold out their hands nervously.
You don't really see anything. You just see me kind of click the pen, and then a moment passes, and then I go to the other wrist and I click it again. And then I look to the pen, and you, Antal, you see where like you'd see one of those kind of like cheap pens would change kind of color or like image. Yeah. You see like a slight red, greenish tint, and you see me look at it, and I'm just like kind of surprised, and I just say, "Fuck."
Yeah, Antal's just standing there watching the scene still. He's like, so many weird things have happened so far. I'm just gonna observe right now.
And they seem very calm and matter of fact. They said, "No, by all means, we are being cordial. We've given you information. There's one very important to you, who as well is important to us. She is one of our own, who has been taken by, shall we say, members of our mutual employer." That we all have very complicated feelings about. They kind of motion to Anto. It's one of those things where they're like, please give me some recognition and affirmation so we don't get killed by Nails, the Duke of Edom, who is also Daequan, who has killed hundreds of people. They realize this is very intense for us. And they mention, too, that Edom does have leverage over them. So we are very compliant.
So Antal doesn't obviously want to let on to these randos that he didn't know that Daequan was part of Edom, right? He broke for a sec, which was a mistake he made, but he doesn't want to. So he says, so Antal says, so the response, they revealed this in response to us asking, how do we get into that rig, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Antal's gonna answer. Antal's gonna actually nod and be like, "That makes sense. That is probably a good way to tackle this problem. But do we want to use that lever right now?" And I turn to Daequan like, "Do we want to use that lever right now?" Which to other people might sound like, "Do we want to use that right now?" To Daequan sounds like, "You need to tell me everything once these guys go away." Which is like, what the hell?
What the fuck is happening? Who are these people?
Oh my gosh! Sorry.
Daquan kind of looks at you and kind of nods and just says, "Yes. Fine. Give me the encryption data. You know a way to contact me. I need to assess situations that have arisen right now. Thanks to you." I look to the one who was like speaking, just like unhappy.
And he kind of realizes too, like he's just pulled like a Mitt Romney level gaffe there, where he's just like, ah, and it's just like he's just like, what? I thought everyone knew he was Daequan was running the show. I got binders full of dukes, you know. So this guy is like, you know, he's just totally screwed up. Where he's like, well, they hand over what they have, and you notice too there seems to be like a group of priests that is kind of like eyeballing you all over there. You're all in disguise as well, and they're like,
I was a silent monk, right?
yeah.
I'm in like brown friar habit or something.
The Lord has saved you.
I'm of a different denomination. No, that's what it's
basically.
Oh, I'm non-practicing. I'd be great. I'd just be in there dressed like a priest. I'd be like, and you are? I'm like, oh, I'm non-practicing.
I'm silent from 9 to 5. It's 6 o'clock.
All right. So we've got this under control. So they're looking to depart. In fact, they say, you know, we're gonna go get some drinks and probably get out of here. We'll head back to London. We're catching first flight in the morning.
And I will say, Daequan, now might be a good time to do some research together. Which you know means you need to tell me what's going on, bomb.
Who are these side ratchets?
So can we go back to? Should we go back to wherever we're staying in Belgium?
Yeah, I think like one of us has like a safe house here or something.
Yeah.
I think we go in and Daequan just like throws the bag on the bed, rolls his hand through his hair, and it's just like, ugh.
And Antal is like he's gonna be very calm, and he's like, Daequan, I realize all of us have secrets from each other. That is only natural. But this is one I would like to know a little more about, especially since we seem to be so intimately involved with Edom.
Right. Gets do you want some tea?
And I'm like, I would love some tea. And I'm expecting you to make it.
Mm-hmm. I'm already in the kitchen, it's like fuck. I make the tea. There's like a conversation about they're out of oolong. You only have green tea, and there's like a funny little moment there. We have a little argument.
My favorite drink is Turkish coffee, right? But he drinks tea.
They don't have Turkish coffee.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of put the tea down, sit down, I'm just like, all right. So I am a ranking Duke of Edom. I always have been. I've been for many years. I have many code names. But when I was contacted by Jisoo about her investigation and all of you, I was curious. I wanted to know what your involvements were and how close you could get. And as our investigation continued, I realized that there was a number of oversights.
Sorry, what?
A number of oversights Eden had been doing. There were pitfalls that I did not like. So I decided to continue our investigation under the guise of Mercenary Daequan.
And I put I steeple my fingers, right? And I am like, Daequan, again, all of us have secrets, and far be it from me to pry into everyone's backgrounds. Everyone knows I have many skeletons in my closet, like literally, I have corpses in my closet. You don't know that. I mean, you might know that. But what's important is, are our goals still aligned? Because I was under the impression that all of us wanted to kill Dracula and stop this conspiracy, and we have learned that the rest of Edom does not approve of that.
They roll back on their chair, it squeaks loudly. They take like a big sip of the tea. Here's the thing. Killing Dracula is an open-ended situation. I want to kill the current version of him, but we both work in the same circles. If there is a powerhouse growing and there is only one seat at the table, but everyone else is armed with nuclear weapons, as soon as that person who is at the seat at the table vanishes, there will be a civil war. And then whoever gets in charge may not be as discreet as the previous owner.
And I'm like, I would prefer a lack of discretion over a lack of humanity, Daequan.
You think Dracula's had a lack of humanity? If that was
Dracula
so,
is a vampire. I do not, whatever the geopolitical situation is after his death, it will not be as bad as having a monster present.
you don't
A
think so?
literal monster.
Who do you think is holding every single vampire back by sheer will and fear from just coming out of the woodwork and murdering any human and enslaving any human population they want?
And I frustratedly sipped my tea. How well did you make the tea? Is it good?
It's like green tea. This is green tea.
Okay, so he does not like it because he likes, he likes black coffee and things, right? So he takes up a tea and then he's like, he's like, the plan was always to destroy the vampire conspiracy entirely. That's what he says. It's so annoying. It's so annoying at a game because we're supposed to sound like really cool spies, but it's not that easy because we're not really cool spies.
Have you met any spies? None of them talk really that cool at all. Like, I mean, they're really like me.
I think we're doing pretty good.
I think you're doing. So, chat, I want you to give us thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you. No, I'm just kidding. Don't hurt our feelings.
XOXO.
XOXO. Hugs and kisses.
Daequan just kind of says, this conspiracy goes a lot deeper than just Dracula. If we get Dracula off, yes, we've killed Dracula. But have you thought about the aftermath? Something always takes its place. And
So
it's never...
what is your goal, Daequan?
My goal is to kill the current version of Dracula, whatever it is that he seems to be planning, and renegotiate. Get him to stop his current plans and work for a more cohesive relationship. Perhaps reminding Dracula that there are others who control a leash as well.
And Antal just sips. He actually genuinely doesn't really know what to do now. I mean, he's gonna go along with, okay, it sounds like at the moment, at least temporarily, we're still in the same goal. But he's thinking a lot, like, what does this mean? Because remember, Antal's drive is killing the vampire, right? That's what's keeping him from completely falling apart, because he burnt out to his last agency, right? And so if he doesn't have that, his life is going to be what is his life, right? So he's going to try and like, okay. And he's going to be like, okay, well, at least temporarily, I know I can trust you, at least temporarily, and you know I've had your back, and
yes.
Jisoo I trust more than the two of you I trust more than most people. The last person I trusted ended up being brainwashed by Dracula, so that wasn't fun. Which is Cynthia. So,
may I ask you a question?
and I'm like, you may, I may not answer it.
Why do you want Dracula dead?
And that leaves him a bit like quiet. And he says, I have dealt with a lot of bad people. I have done a lot of bad things to people who I was told were bad. And at some point, I started to question who is good, who is bad, like what does that even mean? Am I bad? Like I have killed hundreds of people. I mean, I know you have also talked to me, but that was not your primary task. I mean, I don't know anymore because now I know you're Duke of Edom. But from the Daequan I knew, you weren't just out to kill people. I was literally a blunt instrument, a very finely made blunt instrument, but a blunt instrument. After a while, I realized he's saying this much more calmly than Sharon is, because Sharon is thinking on his feet. I began to question, what does it mean killing bad people? And when I found out about the vampire conspiracy, I realized perhaps they were the only thing that were truly bad. They were the only ones who would always prey on other humans, regardless of anything else, because it's their nature. And I thought perhaps it's best to use my skills to go after the thing that's truly bad.
So would you say that this is, in a way, you redeeming yourself? A redemption for you?
And I take a sip of the tea, which I'm forcing myself to drink, even though I don't like it. I do not know if... So Antal isn't a very introspective person. He cannot be, because then he will go crazy, right? He says, I do not know if I can ever be redeemed, but I also don't know if... Like I said, I don't know what good or evil is anymore. So I don't know if what I've done warrants redemption, but it is something that I think is right to do.
Knock on the door.
And I'm like, were you expecting someone?
I shake my head and put the teacup down, it's facing.
Yeah, I drain the teacup and I flip it as I can use it as an improvised weapon. Smash it in someone's eye. Smashing a porcelain teacup in someone's eye is going to debilitate them. So.
It's hot shots.
And so I take position, because I'm the physical fighter, so I take position beside the door and I nudge you to I open the door kind of thing.
I open it slightly. Yeah.
As you open the door, the person outside of it just kind of does the door open inwards or outwards?
Inwards, most likely.
Okay, as it comes inwards, the person at the door kind of leans in with it, and you hear a muffled...
Do I hear that? Do you think?
Yeah.
Or is it soft?
Well enough. You're a trained spy. You hear things that most people don't.
I immediately reach onto the table to grab one of the steaks or one of the whatever's the first of the vampire hunting kits that's near us, like holy water steak, whatever is close to us. The thing I grab that, because hearing that brings back my PTSD.
I look.
It is a familiar face. You can see that it is in fact Elvis, the Duke of Edom. He has two black eyes, one eye swollen completely shut.
Wait, the one we met in the geoscience
Yes,
place?
yes.
The one I nearly went into fisticuffs with.
Yes, you and he had a tussle.
I thought you were dead. I opened the door.
You notice he's having a hard time talking, and he he comes tumbling in. You can see that one of his arms has been twisted and kind of like looks like a question mark. The other hand is missing most of its fingernails, and he looks like he has been through hell itself. And chat, yes, there was a temptation to have Mimit be like, I brought a pizza, let's have talks. But we're saving that. When he reveals he's been Dracula the whole time, little fangs, flies away.
So both of us are field medics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we both have multiple points in field medics. I would, seeing him so bad, I'm still suspicious of him, but he cannot answer questions if he's horribly wounded, right?
Yeah, so he's banged up, and
so I would start trying to I would put the weapons down, I'd put the teacup down carefully, and I would try and start passing
on the bed. Yeah.
So yeah, he just kind of collapses on the floor. You can tell he's obviously got here under his own power. And did so through great effort to escape those that were holding him prisoner. He kind of speaks in a very low, muffled, gravelly voice. We can talk later. And then kind of looks and watermelon crawls to the bathroom. You can hear he's drawing a bath. He's just gonna soak his body.
I look at Pro because I look at Daequan because Daequan knows more about Edom than I do. I recently learned, and I'm asking you look.
Yeah, I look as well, and I think I just kind of mouth, kind of speak low to you as I get close, and I just kind of say, I thought it was dead. What is this?
So this is not one of your extra schemes or anything?
No. Last time I saw him was that video.
So I nod and I'm like, okay, I'm like, do I need to ready the sodium pentothal?
Always.
Okay, good. So yeah, I'm gonna prep some truth serum, just in case we need it. Also, I love using my chemistry PhD. So if he's bathing, I'll prep the chem equipment, and can you watch to make sure he's not trying anything funny? Because as spies that the sound of water can muffle a lot of things, right?
No, yeah, I'm also gonna look outside, make sure no one's following him, kind of come in and check on him.
You see, as he's drawing the bath, he takes off his shirt. You can see carved into his back are the names of all the Dukes of Edom, and several have been crossed out. Yours is not. Your name, well, your code name Nails is on there, but
that's really gruesome. My God. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just gonna don't like that one. Don't like that one. Oh, that's me.
Oh, he died. I didn't know he died. How's he died? I wonder how his kids are.
Couldn't happen to a better person.
Okay.
So should we fast forward to after the shower?
You can do that. Yeah. He sort of comes out, and he's just kind of he's wearing Jisu's robe. On the side, it's stops before his knees, and he seductively lays on the couch. No,
question. The back scars, were they healed, or are they fresh bleeding kind of thing?
They're recent. They're not fresh, so it wasn't something done today. Yeah, It probably happened in the past month, though.
Okay, great. I go up to him and I look at Pro with a thing I'm about to administer the sodium pentothal.
Daequan.
Sorry. We had a conversation about names right before this. It threw me off completely.
It's alright.
I look at Daequan. And I'm and I also have some painkillers. So I'm what was his name again?
Elvis.
This is Elvis. He also goes by Alva. He was the head of all of the Romanian Eastern European bloc.
Right. So I'm Alva, you don't look very good. I'm going to give you some, not tranquilizer, anesthetic. I'm going to give you some anesthesia because you don't look very good. And I actually have, because I'm a chemist, I have mixed sodium pentothal and a mild painkiller. To actually, I don't want him to be in horrible pain, but also to truth serum him.
He has some Tylenol 3 with acetaminophen and codeine.
Oh no! It's actually my side project as my dissertation. I actually worked on a new spy level painkiller.
Spy level painkiller. Yeah,
Nice.
Percocet, a Percocet, and alcohol. No,
Daequan can have cool pens. I can have cool chemicals.
you can. You have cool chemicals. He's like,
Do it.
yeah, he has it. He's just like, here's to feeling groovy all the time, and he lets you inject him, and he's just like, he's vegging on the couch. He's like, wonder what's on
Whacking.
Netflix this time of year. Do you have Netflix? And then he just kind of goes back to staring, but he'll answer any questions you have.
Okay, perfect. And I look to Pro to ask the first question. I look to Daequan to ask the first questions. I'm sorry. That was only big for character reasons. If you actually want me to ask the first question, I will totally ask the first question.
No. But I think the first one, an obvious one, is how did you escape your captors?
I had some assistants.
Who were they?
There was one. He was a French spy. He disguised as Romanian mafia. And he was the same individual that visited us at the geology center in Romania. Essentially, he's referring to Varut, who was played by DM Steve as a guest star. So
Right.
DM Steve was hatching a scheme which led to Elvis's escape.
Right, I remember that he went to save him. I forgot he went to do something. I forgot that. Yeah,
Dude,
because he had another spy friend, the one who was right.
Hold on, wait. Yeah,
his
did he
friend
mention me?
was
Well,
yeah. That was just me joking.
I know, I like that.
But did he mention me? No.
But did he mention me? I want like a group shot of Elvis, Daequan, and Varut like at the beach, like yeah, like just the good old days.
Wow. Don't you always see that in spy movies, like in someone's house, an old photograph of wait, they knew each other when they were young.
Yes.
Or like they're fishing for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he mentions Varut found him. And he can answer any other question you ask, either where he was held, who was holding him, what was going on.
Yeah, so let's ask some of that, like who held
Yeah.
you? Why were you held? I know it can't just be because of the deal you made with us. What was all that?
That he says that had something to do with it. So you had just come from murdering one of the brides. Murder's the term they used. It's not the term I'd use. And essentially, the second, that's what he refers to. He's referring to an individual codenamed the Second. The Second, the one who intends to be heir, captured me and did it. He seemed to be tied to the past. He kind of like fumbles around. Do you have a copy of the dossier that he can look at? It's like, do you have it? I would be able to identify him. His name escapes me. It was an American.
Right? That's not a risk, right?
He's not gonna memorize it. It's like 500 pages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's not as
Oh, like-
smart as us. Okay, cool.
You mean actual pages?
He wants to. Yeah, he wants like your annotated novel of Dracula.
Yeah.
You grant? Do
He's
you want
also
that?
drugged, so I'm okay with giving him, just showing it to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's trying to figure. He wants to identify for you exactly who it was, and then so he takes it. And he opens it up. He kind of fumbles through the book, and then he comes to a name, and we'll show this to the audience as well. And he goes, "That's him, Quincy Morris. He's been changed. He's had promises made to him by the big D."
By change, do you mean just has he been turned into a Renfield, or has he actually been switched sides to help the Big D against all of you?
He has been turned by Dracula himself and is second in command and the leader of Dracula's forces.
Mm,
Right.
That's actually very valuable information for us.
Mm-hmm.
Where is he?
Romania. They are tightening their forces around Castle Braun, which is near Bistria, which is the Romanian village you all visited.
Right. And so I nod because that confirms our theory earlier that the castle was there and everything. What else do we need to ask him? I'm really bad at investigation roleplay.
So we asked him who captured him, blah, blah.
You can, and you have your skills, and you can think about it. So, like, look at your sheet and some of those things. If I have a clue that I might be able to drop.
That, yeah.
Why did you come to us?
That's a really good question.
Well, he explains too. He goes, not many dukes are left, from what I can tell. And those that are left are very untrusting of folks like me that help people like him and looks at Ental. No offense, but you're not part of Edom.
Secretly, I'm kind of happy when he says most of the dukes are dead because I don't like Edom, but I don't say that.
So the dukes are dying. So that means the pillars are falling.
Yes, Dracula doesn't want to be controlled. However, Draws is going to prepare a countermeasure.
And did that? What's his name? The guy he just told us. Did he do? Daequan tell me about the back, the carvings?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, did that man, the second Dracula, second command, do that to you?
Him and his enforcers.
Why did they leave you alive?
They didn't. I escaped.
Oh,
they were. Yeah, they were using me to extract information about our organization. The same as I was obtaining information on their conspiracy.
Okay. So do you know their next move?
Dracula's gotten nervous. He's afraid to be out, so his plan is to hole up in his fortress, and in case Edom attempts to strike on him, if Edom falls, he might loosen his awareness. He might relax a little.
I turn to Pro and I turn to Daequan and I'm like, is Edom in danger of falling?
It seems like it. This is what I think we should do. Jisoo needs to look into the offshore holding facility.
Yes.
If we can get leverage on one of the wives, that'll be even better.
And I'm like, there was some, the old research that we did indicate something in Germany that could lead to one of his wives. No, the son.
Yes.
The son is in Germany. Dracula's son. That could be similar leverage to the wives, as the wives, since we know that. What if while Jisoo is looking into the offshore, what if we look into the sun?
Yes. You know, it's weird. Dracula has given this person the title of heir. But why wouldn't he give his own son that?
And then I nod. I'm like, that's actually a good thought. Yeah. He turned the Duke of Edom, but not the son. And then I caught my head. I'm like, but that's that thing. We're assuming his son means his son. We don't know what son actually means, right?
Do I know now that I'm a duke? Blah, blah, blah. Do I know anything about the son or any of the history?
Here's what you know. Well, what points do you want to spend? This wouldn't be Duke related, but it might be related to some other things that you've done.
A vampology person isn't really here.
I
kill people.
What about your tradecraft? What about your tradecraft?
I do have tradecraft. Let's see here.
Or what? Maybe you've heard on the street. Or bureaucracy. I have bureaucracy. Oh, that doesn't help you.
I do have bureaucracy as well.
You can also think of
military science.
Any sort of interpersonal skills you might be able to get some information out of. Military science might work. Or any interpersonal skills talking with Elvis, because even though he's under the influence, it won't be automatic. It depends how you ask him things.
Tradecraft. I have tradecraft and speaking and interacting with other agents.
Okay. Yep. So here we go. He explains, he goes, there are many programs that exist. Edom is just one. The Americans, the CIA, they've tried to build their own vampires. The Germans, the B&D, they have also tried to create their own vampires.
This confirms, this is actually really interesting because we were just having this conversation, right? Daequan and Antal, Daequan was just saying they're always going to keep doing this. So this is actually really interesting for Antal, yeah.
The Germans created something. Dracula both despises it and loves it. Dracula would not want to admit that mortals, such as ourselves, and he kind of like looks at Antal questioningly, and it's like, you know, there's that little vampire thing going on because you know some of the magic. He doesn't know that you know the magic. He's like, he would not want to admit that mortals such as ourselves would be capable of recreating vampiric phenomena. So he takes claim and ownership over the being held in Munich. We keep him in cold storage. We stole him from the Germans.
And you kept him in Germany?
In one of our strongholds, yes.
I roll my I thought Edom was supposed to be smart.
Well, it's the smartest thing we could do, hide it directly in front of them. They went looking all over the world. Places like Belgium. You know, how'd that turn out?
I would have taken him to a club in Korea anyway. I don't think.
If we can get the sun on our side, get him to dethrone this current pretender's position as a heir, they could take the throne. And an equilibrium.
Control him much better than you control Dracula, is what Antal is saying. But in his head, he's like still processing, like, is it acceptable to leave any vampire alive, kind of thing. But he says that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Daequan kind of picks up on like your hesitation.
Yeah.
And Daequan
you
just
have
kind of
detector.
and Daequan just says, remember, if we take one piece from a stack of cards, it all comes crumbling down, and we won't know what, and we won't be able to pick up any of the pieces. We have to go slowly.
And I nod, which makes sense. And I'm also like, and if the Sun does not want to cooperate with us, we still can use them as leverage if Dracula is actually invested in him.
Yes, and if Jisu's investigation comes up with the facility, having a wife on our side may even sway the others.
And I nod. And at this point, the anesthetic, which I've timed to knock him out, probably knocks him out.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too. It's kind of one of those things too, where he just kind of like grabs one of T, who's not with, like, there's like a little adorable like Beanie Baby stuffed animal, and he just kind of puts it under his head and curls up on the couch.
Hello Kitty.
Yeah,
it was one of
it's Peckle.
It was one of our club owners is like Beanie Babies.
It's a Karopi. Yeah, it's an Sanrio character. He like grabs 3 of them. Come here.
I turned to Daequan. I'm like, so what do we do with him?
I
he
mean,
did help, even though I have wanted to kill him for a while. He did help us a lot.
You do have a contact in London.
So I do have a contact in him, you mean?
No, is my mic low? Sorry. I say you do have a contact in London.
And I nod. I'm like, send him to London and keep him safe and hidden there.
Why not be with that woman who's obsessed with you?
And I'm like, and I roll my eyes. I'm like, is she the wisest choice? She's a graduate student who happens to be an informant for MI5 and has delusions of spycraft. And I'm annoyed at her because last time she like denied me or something, right?
She out-wrestled you.
Yeah, she wrestled me and I was really annoyed.
She got the top position. You were dominated a little. And that ain't your thing.
You were not having a good night that night.
Yeah, that was a mind control night. It was not a good night.
No.
And I'm like, is she the wisest? Can we not send her to like the club in Korea? No, the club burnt down. Oops.
That's okay. He's gonna have to find her friends.
Yeah, and I like, okay, we could do that. I'm just worried that she might not be able to keep him as hidden as we want. But this might be the only option.
Everyone else could be burned or turned.
I nod, and I'm like, okay. So
You want Margot to get her?
That's we're gonna send him off to London to stay with the grad student.
Yeah, it's
in a university hall.
Right,
the dorm.
Oxford, right? In Oxford, yeah.
He gets a job at the cafeterias, just serving beans. Just yep. I'm a line cook now. And they're like, who's the weird new chef with no fingernails and two black eyes?
The chef with really good knife skills. Like,
yeah, like,
really good knife skills.
And the quality of their cuisine went up tenfold that year. We couldn't sign him on to another season. Hard to get good help. I know, that's great, yeah. So yeah, Margot collects Elvis. It's probably one of those things where they're going to go off and write spy novels together in their old age. Like they fall in love or something.
It's a spy romance that she was
touching away from me because I don't like her.
It was great. It was like as soon as she out wrestles you, you're like, I hate her.
Don't top and tall unless that's you.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah.
Even then, on tall is gonna be the power bottom.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, it was one of those things. I was like, spicy.
Sense.
Yeah, it was like, I hope she dies. In fact, Daequan, shoot her. It's like,
I don't want to point her because I'll feel bad. Daequan, shoot her. I'll feel bad. You're a bad person as well.
Well, all right.
I hope your next professor is Mimit Luxai. Yeah, it's like, all right. So yeah, he is sent off and goes on to Margot will find a spot where he can be hidden. Probably ends up joining that Satan cult. There's a mystic guy who's still around.
Oh, right.
He was back in London. Yeah.
What happened to him, the bathtub cult leader? Yeah.
Well, he went back to London at some point. He was around.
I mean, we stole the book from him. Dracula probably wasn't very happy with him that the book was stolen from under his nose.
No. Yeah.
No, he gave away the secrets.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, if we're traveling to Germany, I would like, or if we aren't doing anything that even just prepping for travel, I would like to spend some time reading the book, because after that thing last time, I'm determined to be like, what the hell is up with this book? Like, what is this mist thing? Like, what? I'm like just really bewildered, because remember, my whole drive is take down the vampires, so I need to understand them, and this is getting me closer to understand the vampires than anything else before.
You're becoming the thing you hate.
What was that?
You're becoming the thing you hate.
Oh no, don't say that!
So what you find in the book is this time during the travel, there is...
I totally have like a random travel magazine in the front of it, you know, to like pretend I'm pretending I'm reading the sights and sounds of Munich or something.
Essentially, the person... This is the information that you divine from it. Do you have any vampirology points or occult studies?
No, that is my weak point. I do not have.
But you do have the language?
I have Latin. I can read the language. I have archaeology.
It's written in a few different things. So here's what you would get from this situation. So here's what I want you to do. We're going to do a Luke Crane thing and die of fate it. Just roll a d6 for me.
Yeah. Backslash R1G6. 4. Not bad.
You succeed. You learn that there are 2 rituals, spells, if you will, that a Karcist, a magician, if you will, a practitioner of the arcane arts. This book contains the ability to both become a vampire yourself, or to destroy a vampire.
What?
how to utterly destroy a vampire. And the you're not sure exactly how to perform these yourself, but you can see that all the elements of doing a ritual. If you work with someone who is a vampirologist, they can help explain the symbolism. I mean, it's one of those things like interpreting a hypocephalus in Egypt or something like that.
Right, because I understand like the language and the science part of it, but like those occult parts. So in my head, I'm like, I need to talk to Jisoo about this because I'm not going to talk to Daequan about this because he might not want to do that. I don't know. I trust at this point. I trust Daequan a little less than before. In terms of the ultimate plan. I trust him to not like stab me or whatever, obviously. But I trust him about the ultimate plan a little differently. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to talk to Jisoo about this because if we can do this on Dracula, this might because Daequan was talking about like there will always be a Dracula, But if we can do this, could that like end it? I'm just very curious, and I'm like, we need to speak to Jisoo about this. I'm gonna make a note in my character sheet. Chat with Jisoo.
Jisoo, I see you in chat, so you just text us. I'm just kidding. Take care of yourself, my friend.
Oh, is Jisoo actually in chat?
I see Burst of Hope. I see Jess in chat, but
oh, nice. Hey.
They might not be around. Yeah.
Um.
Do it yourself. Yes.
So, I think Daequan kind of says to you as we're flying, like a secure plane us to Germany and stuff, and Daequan will kind of. I'll play this out. Daequan will kind of like put it on autopilot and that's in like the cargo hold.
Oh, we're in a private kind of plane, not a flight.
Yeah, private plane.
Okay. Oh right, you're the pilot. What am I saying? Of course, I forgot that. Yeah.
Only I fly me. They can come up to you and be like, and say, "I might be able to get in, just on my credentials. You did that strange mist thing."
And I kind of shudder, and I'm like, I would prefer to just use my modus operandi and disguise myself. But if you think the only way to get in is with that mist thing, I can attempt that again.
I don't know. I mean, pretending that you already belong there once you're in, it's going to be a lot easier than sneaking in.
And I nod. I'm also very athletic. I'm not like double joint. I'm like I had it in my head I could double joint hide inside a suitcase and you take me in.
That is very spy.
That's very like spy movie. Yeah.
We wait for a shipment of barrels and you're in one of the barrels.
I'm like, what? Okay. I'm like, okay. I'll say let's leave that as a backup option if we need to, and try and when we survey the place to see if there is a way I can get it without doing that, because I'd rather not have to resort to. And I shudder because every time anything that comes up, the first thing I think about is rats. Right, because that was a spell, and I always think whenever magic comes up, I think of rats crawling all over me, and it's very disturbing. And I have not yet spoken to my solace about that. So
no. Oof. Well, all right then, and Daequan's just like, here's your parachute, and
I'm like, okay. I was sure. I don't think he'd be surprised at that. He's a professional.
Yeah.
Can we have
don't need no airport
like mini parachutes that look dark and like or like they're like glider? They kind of turn to glider parachutes.
Yeah, we don't go through any official channels. Just glide in.
Yeah,
you glide right over Munich, right into a mortuary, pick up a coffin, fly out the other side, load it on a truck, drive it away. It's just, what was that? That's been happening more and more this time of year.
Angels like levels.
Yeah,
I love it.
So you're on your way to Munich, and you're on your way to Germany. And those of you that have read the novel, including our players and our characters, they know that Harker and Morris, the same Quincy Morris, who is now a servant of Dracula, travel through Munich on their way to Transylvania. There is a tomb outside the city. and specifically, very early on, there's a mortuary known as the Munich Dead House that our characters wanted to investigate. And for the audience, we'll explain what a dead house is, because it's probably throwing them off. In the 19th century, people were very concerned about burying people before they were actually dead. So what they would do is they'd bring them into this building, and they would tie strings to their fingers, and each of the strings would be attached to a musical organ. So if the person was still alive and they started moving their hands and moving, it would play this weird, haunting, necromantic music.
This is so wild.
Yes. But that's a way they would find out. And so, in the original Dracula novel, which is part of the campaign, sorry, chat, as long as it's delivered by hearse. Yeah. Essentially, you're on your way to this mortuary. And there is a night watchman at the door. He's about 6'2". He's got he's got a rather large belly. You can tell he's probably a good beer drinking, hamburger eating sort. His nose is broad, and he's got nicely groomed eyebrows and an eyebrow piercing. A little edgy, probably. Yeah, yeah, he's got his flashlight, and you can see he's just kind of like tossing it up, seeing if he can make it like loop and then catch it, and like it hits the ground once, and then he sees you
really
approaching,
bored.
quickly picks it up.
He's
Yes,
really bored.
very bored.
Okay, I'm gonna try and disguise myself as like a bodyguard thug type. I know I don't look it in terms of my build, but I do look in terms of
I
I'm
get
a
that.
menacing, strong. I'm a strong.
Carry
dude,
yourself
right?
that way.
You have that like hitman glare.
Glare, yeah. I'm not like a bouncer, but I'm like a bodyguard.
I could kill you.
Yeah, I kill you.
I woke up to this person with my murder guard.
Yeah. Good evening. Closed for the night, but what's shaking?
I like speak in German, and I just say
He stares in German.
I'm dressed in German.
If you want, Daequan, I have a legal my speciality in forgery was like letters from the government. Remember we used that in England at one point?
Oh god, yeah.
So if you want, I can have a fake German letter from the Ministry of Culture or something.
Isn't this like an Eden house though? If I
What's
remember
that?
correctly? Is this an Edom house? I don't remember because I
so
right?
it's there's some things this guy knows.
Right.
He wouldn't know anything about that. He's just like, this is like a historic site. It's where bodies were buried back in the day, and we got a lot of old buildings.
What's the main art museum called? The Kunsthalle or something, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And
And
I can have like a letter from like the
So-
curator of the Kunsthalle being like, we want to come here for some whatever.
So here's what I would say. So you do have some Edom knowledge. If you have an investigative skill that you think might apply between the two of you, and what I'm going to let you do, I'm going to give you both a mulligan. So if there's ever something you just want to use, since we're down players,
Yeah.
mechanically the game would give you more build points. You would just have more skills that you could use.
Right.
So if you need to throw out something that you wouldn't typically
Yeah, I
have,
was
at
going to use
Jisoo
my
or T.
forgery because I like using my forgery.
Okay.
Yeah, and that works.
So, describe the records that are forged that you're going to present.
Yeah, so I have a letter. I don't know if this exists, but the German Ministry of Culture. I have a letter from them, countersigned from the head curator, from the director of the Kunsthalle in Berlin, being like, "Oh, we're doing some really important research, and they need to go in at odd times to skip the crowd. Just give them access here." And it's in German, and I used Daequan helped me on the German, but I'm really good at making it look official and sexy, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like Daequan wrote the basic,
Glammed it up.
and I cleaned it up and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And do you want me to spend a point on that, or just yeah?
So you don't have to spend a point if you don't want to. If you do though,
Why not?
He's-
I rarely spend forgery. I want to spend some forgery.
he's willing to escort you through here as well. And he's like, I've got keys, so if there's anything in here that you can't get into, you know.
I dart to Daequan as though, is that a useful thing for us?
I shake my head now.
Yeah. So. But
All right, well, you know, that's just whatever, you know.
Could we get the keys from him?
He looks at you. Do you have like an interpersonal skill that you're gonna use?
I cannot. I can only speak to him in English. Is he okay with speaking to me in English?
He loves speaking in English.
Or French,
He's practiced
or
it every
Romanian,
week.
or Hungarian, or
He
Arabic?
doesn't like French. He doesn't like speaking in Hungarian, but speaking in English, like he loves speaking in English.
Okay,
Finally, I can
in
use it.
English, I'm gonna reassure him. I have reassured.
Oh, he has, you know, he goes, hey, if you're government officials, he's like, and if you lose them, I'll say I was shot by a robber. And he just tries to come up with some lie.
And I give like a brittle smile. I'm like,
Rubber bullets.
Admirable. And yeah.
We saunter in.
All right. You're in there. Now, you see, like, there's no more musical organ here that bodies would have been tied to. There's a lot of above ground tombs. There's a lot of observation. Go ahead and describe how you want to investigate down here. There's a variety of but let me know what you're looking for, so you know that the sun is here, and you know there might be some other things.
Right. Could I do some? Could I use my archaeology to try and make sense of some of these like old things, and like where could the sun be in one of the, like what makes sense archaeology wise? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. In fact, what you find archaeology wise is a hidden door.
We have both the archaeologist and the art historian here.
This is great.
And I'm also an architect.
You all knock down a wall and then rebuild it with masonry.
I'm a chemist. Anyway.
I'm foreign. You're foreign. But yes. So you do find a false wall, essentially loose brick. You can push it through. There was a hidden door here. Your best guess is this was World War II era. Something was going on, and they wanted to set up.
Right, because we heard hints that the Third Reich was trying to use vampires as well, right?
Yes. In fact, both sides were attempting to.
Right.
Dracula specifically, they tried to get to have a revolution in Romania.
Right.
While Antor did all that, could I use my tradecraft just to make sure there's no like motion sensors, cameras, any kind of spying equipment around?
Nice.
So you use that, and what you find is there's several things. One, 3 of the steps have been set up to break to cause a tragic, most likely deathly fall down the stairs. You can see that the handrails have been removed. You can also see that part of the ceiling had been knocked out, and they've just like filled it up with horrible things like asbestos. They're trying to make this place as unapproachable, uninhabitable.
You want to give us cancer 10 years down the line using asbestos?
The long game.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
We'll die one day if you trespass here.
Well, that's the thing. You can tell it's just been like filled with asbestos. There's a lot of it, and it's just like this whole thing. What they're trying to do is make it come off as this is condemned. If you find this, no one would want to come down here. You know, it's just handrail removed. Steps have been set to collapse. There's no cameras, but there you do. We'll assume you have flashlights. down the steps, you see like old film cameras and stuff. Like down at the bottom, there's like film canisters. It looks like there's desks, there's papers, and there's other things down there.
Okay, we should go through those papers and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what? Do you have photography, right, Daequan?
No.
Okay, well, I have chemistry. If you didn't know, I have chemistry. If you want to take a look at the papers, I can try and develop the film or whatever.
Yeah. I have bureaucracy, so I kind of go through the most kind of like important items.
And you read German, so I do not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if there's any kind of like Edom iconography or coding, I can understand that.
Yeah. Okay, so I will look at the photos and things if I need to develop anything, or I know it's not really realistic. We need a dark room and all that, but like, you know, spy movie style. If I can figure anything out, you know.
Yeah.
Down the steps, you see that most of the documents here, they are, you know, circa 1945. It's the end of World War II. The film canisters seem to be labeled. One says Murnau. One says it looks like it's missing a few letters, but if you had to do your best guess, the word is Nosferatu. There's yes, and there is a variety of there's one it's labeled, you know, Graf, which is a German word for count. There's one called Orava. That's what it's labeled. These are all just different names. You can tell these are proper nouns of places. In fact, your best guess is these were. You've seen maps and you've traveled through Romania enough now that in Slovakia, Romania, these are like regions where there's castles and things like that. You're an art historian. Would you like to spend a point?
No.
Yes, I will.
See, this game is actually made as an argument towards a liberal arts education. That's the literal whole point of this game.
Yes.
Literally.
Like, being a Renaissance man is useful in society.
It 100% is, because you put it together, you look at all of this. This is all relics of the 1921 film Nosferatu. Like, those were the castles that they filmed at. These are film canisters. They obviously, you know, this is film equipment to film a vampire movie. And it's being stored down here. As you turn to the eastern wall, there is a massive coffin. It has brass fittings on it. It's made out of wood. It's completely closed. There's no nameplate on it or anything.
And I look and I'm like, I point the coffin. I'm like, do you think there's someone in there?
I mean, could be.
Take out the holy water. Take out the holy water. We got to refill. I know we were nearly out because we doused the like soil with it, but one of our aims was in Brussels,
Belgium,
we would get some more. Yeah.
Those have the guns, silver guns.
So I'm the hand-to-hand guy. So you stand back with your gun pointed, and I use my ballet-esque pose. I use my foot while I'm holding the holy water in my hand. I use my foot to try and open the door. That's what it looks like doing that, you know.
So it you open the coffin. Beneath it is a slightly smaller coffin that is made completely out of lead.
It's like a Matryoshka doll. But if it's lead lined, that's not a good sign.
Not at all. And your guess is this could be very bad to be exposed to for too long.
Yeah,
but,
so I say, remember the high radiation levels in the cave?
Yes.
And I'm like, so I'm going to gesture to that, you know, obviously that means like, so what should we, could that be the sun or something in there?
It could be, yes. Can I like, have my preparedness and get like 2 like I don't know like radioactive like pills or whatever it is, like rad pills.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can totally do that.
Yeah, you're a military guy, right?
Yeah.
It was like, after
Make a preparedness roll though. You can spend any points you want. It's gonna be a difficulty 3.
Okay, I'll spend 1 point. And yeah, just like after I almost got killed by ugly, mutant giants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it would have been coming perfect.
5.
So yeah, it's one of those things where you actually look around and you see that like there's a closet, and in the closet there's actually like rad suits if you wanted to put them on.
Ah.
Because they would have been handling this stuff down here.
Do we want to? I turned Daequan. Do we even want to open this?
We're here. We can't really bring it out.
It is made of solid lead. Yeah.
It weighs 200 kilos, so that's almost 500 pounds.
Strong, not that strong.
It's an athletics. It's an athletics challenge to lug this thing around, especially up like death stairs.
Turn into mist and we can float on it.
The art historians are just taking a lead coffin out of this museum. Bye.
This needs arting, so I need to art it.
Yeah, we need to art to this lead coffin. When I worked at the museum, one of the most fascinating departments was the whole like restoration and they're just so interesting. And they hired a ton of chemists, so because Antal's a chemist.
Really?
So we should put on the rad suits, and then I have. Do you think infiltration works in trying to open that?
So here's what would work. Yeah. If you want to get it open and very carefully, it's 4 points in mechanics. If you want to see what's inside, you would need to do the mechanics to drill a hole without breaking the seal. And if you have electronic surveillance, I'll let you send a little camera in to see what's inside.
Yeah, I don't have 4 points in mechanics, but I do have a point in surveillance. I have a couple of points in surveillance, and I have a point and I have 1 point in mechanics.
I have 4 points mechanics.
That would automatically. You could get the hole in, and then Antal could work in the little night vision camera.
Yeah.
Well, I spend 1 point in mechanics because we still have to open it.
Well, okay. Well,
you wouldn't have to. If you spend all 4, we can easily open
If you spend all 4, what it is I'd let you spy to see exactly what's in there. Like, you could put a hole through it, run a little camera, you can see what's inside, and then decide what you want to do with it. If you want to open it, it's just going to be automatic success.
Okay, yeah.
So just open, or do you want to spy on it?
I'd say just open it. We're here, All
right.
Live dangerously.
You open it.
Also, we have to remember, we probably cannot, it'll be weird if we're here all night.
Mm-hmm.
It will be weird if you're here all night. So, where is he? All right. So, you open the coffin. In chat, you'll see this. There is a gray-skinned, bald-headed, rotten-faced, pointy-eared individual with sharp fangs, and the eyes are cold and dead and stare out. And a clawed hand starts to reach forward, and in his perfect German, he speaks out, "Feed, feed." For Graf Orlok, Count Orlok, is kept inside this coffin. What do you do?
I don't know what he's saying, but this is clearly a vampire, and I am. What's the adjective for revulsion? Revulsed?
Yes.
Revolted. Yeah, that's what it is. We speak English. I am revolted, right? And so I back off and I ready my holy water and I look at I look at Daequan.
Yeah. I think as I flipped it over, I still had my kind of silver gun in the other hand.
Yeah.
I would have just like I did with the girl in the hotel, pull it up to the head, and back in German, I'm gonna say, lunch has been cancelled.
Also, he can feel the silver, right? We determined that silver bullets near vampires, they feel a bit like annoying. So he knows that there's silver in there.
Well,
If it bothers him.
If it bothers him. He might be a different species, who knows, yeah.
yeah. So Orlok looks at both of you, and then he looks at the door to the stairs, and then with superhuman speed he darts past you and he shoots up the stairs. He is fast. He is fast as shit, and you can't catch him unless you try.
Okay, we're good. So I have a really high detect sense trouble. Could I use that?
Well, here's what you know.
Yeah.
You do know Orlok is some form of vampire species, and you know that he is starving. He's been kept in this coffin for a long time, and now he's awake. He'd be happy to engage you in conversation, but he's gonna go upstairs and he's gonna look for food.
He's jonesing for some food.
He's jonesing for some food. Yeah, he's just like, I haven't eaten in a month.
Okay, so this is Sharang versus on top.
Yeah.
Sharang would be like, we need to just cut a vein or something and feed him something to just give him a taste. Antal would never do that. So that's just telling Fro if
you could have preparedness if you could say that you have some blood or something.
We were gonna find a son, so maybe
that's true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, perhaps I have 3 preparedness left. I don't know what yours is, but perhaps we pack some blood.
Yeah,
if you spend the 3, that would give it to you.
I have 1 preparedness.
I'll spend 3 then to get a.
All right. So he starts
to. He runs up. Maybe you can take out the blood.
No, what happened? Yeah, he stops, almost like a dog that. It's like you have a steak, you have like a treat or something. He like stops. Orlok turns around slowly, and he's like, I want that. May I have it, please now? Thank you. And like snatches it and just starts like, and like devoured it whole.
A blood bag kind of
yeah,
thing?
yeah. It's like, gosh, what is it like?
It's like
the fun bags at bars for anyone that goes to pegs. It's a fun bag. It's like a giant. Boozy Capri Sun, where he's just like, ah.
And there's like 3 more in like a bag.
Yeah, and he chows down, and he just kind of he's like sizing you up. He's trying to figure out exactly who you are, and he's just like, where are we?
Cut out me for a sec. Can you say that again?
He's asking, where are we? Where are we going?
In German. He's only asking in German, right?
Yeah, but if he gets that you don't understand,
I start trying to speak to him in Latin. Does he speak Latin?
He speaks Latin.
Okay, great. I say it sounds really weird to Daequan because no one speaks Latin. Like,
yeah, and he's just like, dead language. What kind of weirdo are you, academic?
Yeah, and of course, very few people know how to properly pronounce Latin, right? So I learned it at Oxford, so I have a very English Latin accent, not an Italian Latin accent, right?
Bastardized.
In this very anglicized Latin, I'm like, you're going to answer our questions if you want more of that, and if you don't want this, and I point to the holy water and the bullets to enter you. So, I'm trying to intimidate him. Oh, sorry, interrogate. Oh, I have both. Intimidate, yeah.
You're going to try to intimidate Orlok?
I mean, we have food that he needs access to, and we have weapons against vampires. I'm going to try.
Oh, yeah. That's what he goes, oh, I'm so scared of you. You're frightening. You terrify me. You're just... Yeah, and you can't tell if he's sincere or not because of his Germanness, his stoicism. No, I'm just kidding. It's like
I'm probably really annoyed. He's like, this isn't working.
And he calls you out on it. He goes, if you're annoyed, how do you think I feel? I'm like, Orlok is just very matter of fact about that. He's like, I think we're all annoyed. How about you? And he like motions to Daequan.
There is probably a language that Daequan, what are your languages?
I mean, I was just gonna say talk English.
Oh no, to each other that he will not understand. That's
like I suppose like spycraft, I guess.
Oh yeah, we have tradecraft. Yeah. So I like basically tell you like I'm like, ask the questions. You speak the German better. You know, my language isn't gonna work because it's really complicated. I can say things like, the Emperor wants us to send 2 armies. But I don't know that because we don't have
Where is the toilet?
Yeah.
Daequan is kind of like he doesn't like holster the gun, but he kind of puts it at his side. Actually, he holsters it for a second and then like takes out the lighter that has the blue flame, like lights a cigar, puts the blue flame out. See if it does any effect to him, because it's the blue flame with like the vampire stuff.
The blue flame really bothers him, and then he kind of looks as well because he sees you have those vampiric UV guns on you, and he's getting.
Oh right.
That's what's bugging him now, and he's starting to feel threatened.
So I'm scared.
As I do that as like a whole one motion, I kind of blow out the cigar, and I say to him, "Do you speak English?"
Parlez-vous anglais? Si. Yeah, oui, oui. Yeah, he's
German, right?
Yeah.
Parlez-vous
abyssal is my favorite thing. Yeah. So yeah, he goes, yes, some.
Right. Forgive my friend here. He's had bad experiences. On the other hand, I've had more reasonable ones. I've come to offer you a deal, and in doing so, a partnership.
Pause, out of character. Are we sure this is the son?
No, but I'm going to find out.
Okay, yeah, okay, keep going.
Because we don't know who this is.
Yeah, we just know his count something based on documents, yeah.
Yeah.
Count Orlok.
Orlok.
So I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say that's why I'm here. Hope you enjoy the blood. It was fresh, of course. More to come. How long?
Indeed, he says it.
How long have you been in the movie business?
From the time I was born, he says.
I'm a fan of Nosferatu.
I love how the conspiracy is that they used real vampires to make these movies. I love that.
The best part is in the book too. They're like, yeah, and every now and then like Orlok would show up in shots, and they'd be like, "Get out of here!" And like they're like, "No, we just want to use your castle." Yeah, it's fun too, and there's like all sorts of different ways you can configure him. Very good game. For those of you watching, we are sponsored by Pelgrane, so do check it out at that link. And here, have 20% off. So Orlok says, he goes, "It was my finest film. It was my only film. It was my finest film."
They've made many more because of it. We were a pioneer.
Second to market, he says, and throws his hand.
Now that like we seem to be in a more relaxed state, I kind of sit on like a dusty table, and I just say,
I'm still tense because Antal does not like that.
And you can tell Antal, even though it feels like a more relaxed state, you can tell Orlok is also very tense, and his mind is turning. This is a highly evolved, dangerous, and powerful creature.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna assume he's as dangerous as the bride.
Yeah.
Right. That's Antal's assumption. He's not just he's not like the 2 idiot dancers or whatever. Right. This is equal to the bride. Yeah.
2 idiot dancers is my brand. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, you were left in this place and forgotten. We've taken you out, and we'd like to know exactly where Dracula's adopted child is.
He's not my real father.
Ah, there you go. Good stuff.
Well, it's hard to choose a parent who's chosen you.
He's more like a stepdad, or like a liar, trying to make friends with those that made me. And he kind of like motions at like the government documents and the conspiracy documents. He goes, he doesn't want there to be any acknowledgement that there are others like us that rival his power, that surpass it. He kind of says like boastfully.
Of course.
So he at least believes that he is equal to Dracula.
Dracula is an accident. Oh, sorry to cut you off. But he's just like, Dracula is an accident. I am intentional.
I mean, happy accidents and all. So, as I said, we come here for a proposition. Dracula has proclaimed someone else as their first, as their child, as their accomplished heir. And we don't feel that they are deserving of that position. And we feel that many of us, you and my own kind, have been a bit mistreated by Dracula's scheming and plots and self-absorbedness and narcissism. And we would like your help in showing him, as you said, that there are others who rival his power. And I'm trying to negotiate here.
Yeah, and then he thinks about it. He's like, what would be in it for me?
Taking the seat and working with myself and others in my organization to establish a new equilibrium.
The last time I worked with people like you, they tried to establish a new equilibrium, and he kind of points over at like the World War II Third Reich documentation, and he's just kind of like he's like, tell you what, I will take his seat. All I ask is that you leave all of his brides for me.
He's just really horny.
Yeah, it's actually on his character sheet. He has compulsion. He loves beautiful people, and he is extremely attracted to them. Yeah, honey and hot wax. Yeah, Orlok has like deep. One night with Orlok makes a strong man crumble. Sorry.
I mean,
there is a game about Dracula in Honey and Hot Wax. So,
I mean, he has been locked up for so many years.
To be fair, yeah, in lead.
I'm just going to say, if that's what they want, I won't stop them. It's their choice.
He's like, they have no choices anymore. They're under his control.
Not once we sort out Dracula.
He goes, let me think about these terms. And I need you. He looks at Daequan. I need you to make a stability check, please.
Yeah.
The difficulty is 6.
I'm like, I hope you don't hypnotize me again. I'm always the brunt of the supernatural.
No, and I know we talked about in chat, we talked about on stream that we're not going to explore vampire mesmerism too much, but however, this is a vampire trying to get an upper hand.
Yeah.
Do I add anything to it?
And I will also add a distance, content warning in chat. Orlok actually surpasses mesmerism and actually has mind control powers.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You can spend stability points to roll.
Oh, okay.
If you run out of them, you end up like Antal.
Oh no!
I'm gonna spend 3, I think. I have 7.
Okay.
I'm quite stable. So I need a 6, you said?
Yes. So go ahead, roll a d6.
Right.
Let's see what you get.
Above a 3. Oh, got a 5.
Okay, you can tell that he tries to pierce your mind and realizes your mind is strong and made up. And he realizes too, he's like...
As he does it...
And we're wearing radiation suits.
As he does it...
what are you, astronauts? Yeah.
I think my suit is like kind of up a bit because I'm smoking, and I think as he does it, as he does, I can kind of tell what he's been doing because I'm trained, and I think I just relight my my cigar. I just kind of smoke out, and I just kind of say, "Let me know when you're done."
He winces. And he's like, "Don't rush me." Yeah, he explains. He goes, what is your plan for me to approach him? You must bring my coffin, and you must bring the dirt that comes with it.
The iron coffin?
He nods. He goes, unless you construct me a new one. But I don't know
how
how
to
to do
do
that.
one. Oh, okay, well.
Oh, I'd let you guys do that. It's cool where you like have everything Antal's learned by reading Le Dragon Noir, and Daequan does it in Orlok too. And this is like a father-son like project, and we're just like, we're building birdhouses. We built Orlok a coffin.
Antal would hate that.
I know.
You see Anto's hand like with the kind of sander, and then like Orlok's hand goes on top of it, and they're sanding together.
Oh my god!
Go with the grain.
Antal. Do not traumatize Antal.
Antal's just like sitting outside sipping the tea, the Turkish coffee, just like, no, this is all wrong. No. We're not gonna do. Yeah, we won't do a whole coffin, but. You are able to. So Orlok's a little different too. He's different than a Dracula vampire. Orlok
he's a manufactured guy, right?
Yeah, and you learned going through the traffic analysis. Orlok was made using vampiric DNA specimens. There's signs that point to what they call the rock. Those of you following the science, this is a rock that fell from the sky. This is like a meteorite, and the meteorite seems to have caused these vampiric phenomena, and they were able to use that with some of Dracula's assigns to craft and create a vampire that is free from his control, operates autonomously, and they tried to control him for as long as they could till Edom got hold of him and was using him as leverage. Everything else points to Dracula loves to hate this guy. He doesn't want to admit that people were smart enough to make a vampire. So he's like, no, this is one of my kids. They didn't actually make it, but they did actually make it.
Interesting. And I have enough traffic analysis to figure that out. Okay, good. Okay, so we need to, I'm totally for sicking this guy on them, because Antal's hope is that that'll weaken both of them enough that Antal will be able to kill both of them. But either way, it's we're not strong enough to just fight Dracula. We're humans.
Yeah.
So this is a good.
You're semi-human right now.
Well, yeah, I'm becoming less human, but I missed. I'm not human. I am missed.
Sorry.
Is it getting too dark, or should I turn the light on?
You can turn the light on if you want, but you kind of look cool and spooky.
Oh, okay, that's cool. If you think
I was gonna say, yeah. So it's like, Orlok's like, missed you say?
I don't say that out loud, do I?
I know you don't. You don't if you don't want to.
yeah.
However, Orlok's little senses are like,
yeah,
y'all have something. I don't know what it is yet, but I can smell it.
But in the term,
smelling the Dragon Noir, do we think?
Most likely, or something else,
or the fact that I can turn into mist. He could just, I'm becoming less human, right?
Most likely, yeah.
You would have the hint, sort of like the foul, corrupt odor of using the vampiric power on you. However, he's not educated that there's vampires, non-vampires, and things like that. He just knows that there's certain people he wants to eat. There's certain people he wants to sleep with. He doesn't like going out in the sunlight. So he's kind of naive towards this.
Right, because he was made by the Third Reich and just used as a lab experiment kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So out of character. So what's our plan? We're gonna try and break him out of here, take his coffin, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I think we bring him with us, keep him just fed, and then we set him on the air guy, the guy who's like just coming into power.
Nick. No. Why did I say Nick?
Quincy Morris.
Quincy Morris. I don't know why I said Nick. Quincy Morris.
Yeah.
I think that's a good plan. So what is our plan to get the coffin and everything out?
You could ask your night watchman for help. Talk him.
Yeah, I could. Could I?
Takam, also known as Snack.
Yeah. So my do you think I could break out my modus operandi here and be like, I'm gonna use my once a game disguise skill, but be like show him that I'm actually he's already met us, but be like, I'm actually really bigwig in the ministry, and we really need this coffin to move or something. Or does that not count as disguise? What do you think, Ron?
You don't need to use here's what I'd say. If you need talking to the security guard, it's just an interpersonal skill.
Okay.
Things like this guy seems pretty hip. He seems into the social scene, and he doesn't know that there's a secret false wall there. He doesn't know that there's a vampire there. You maybe even involving him into this plot, he might be like, awesome. This is like the greatest story of my life. No one will believe this happened, and I can't tell anyone.
Yeah, I like that because
I'll make a comic.
Okay, I have this idea. I have 2 points in cop talk, right? So he's a security guard, right? So I'm gonna kind of be like, hey, so there's actually some secret artifacts here that that's why we actually came, and you're a security guard. We really need your security help. You need to you need to help us guard.
You've got the stuff.
Yeah, you've got the cojones, right, to like deal with this. And try and use my cop talk and try and get him to like help us move this stupid lead coffin. What the hell?
All right, so you talk to sorry, chat. I'm giving them a bunch of Nosferatu trivia. Sorry, I have 3 film degrees, and it's like so. The Werner Herzog movie is actually commentary on the following pandemic, and so he sees the wall. He's like, holy shit. He sees the Orlok. He's like, holy shit. And like this guy, he's like, I knew it. I knew there were vampires out here. I've read the novels. No one believed me. No one cares about this stuff. You know what? I'm going to help you. I'm going to make a comic book about this.
This is German film history. It's very important.
This is German film history. And he's just helps he helps get the coffin up and sort of loads it into you didn't fly here on the plane, you didn't glide in.
We glid here.
Yeah, you have a van similar to the Edom Kill Squad vans.
You don't drive to have van and stuff, right?
Yeah, you guys could have rented cars, stuff like that. And
we gotta get a car.
Yeah, and then he helps get it up. Orlok explains too, he's like, you're gonna have to keep, these boxes of dirt, drag them around with me. And then he's like, I guess we're headed to Romania, eh? Or you want to send him there? How do you want to handle him? You could use your network to get a contact to take him over. Elvis could plan a counterattack. You have people.
I mean,
you can take him with you.
An idea pro could be because we're doing an attack, I could tap into my priest network, right? I still have contacts in the vampire hunting priests.
Would they work with a vampire, though?
That's the question,
yeah. Yeah. But we could also set this guy up, and then when we kind of reconvene with everyone, we do the offshore mission, get the wife, and then we attack with... Unless we don't want to do that.
Antal is very wary about just letting him do his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we should. Antal would say, let's keep him hidden for a bit. Give him some food and things. Get some blood banks, hit up some blood banks, give him some food, and after we've done the mission with Jisoo, then together sick him at the same time as we attack.
Plus, it needs time for him to acclimate to the time, and then give him more information for the attack and who's.
Yeah. That's a good idea. That'll also give Antal more time to study the Dragon Noir and hopefully figure out how to. Not telling you this, but how to kill him.
Orlok's head turns around. Kill me.
Make a new lighter coffin.
I've grown accustomed to your face.
Many years. We should have the technology to be a little lighter.
It's just made of fiberglass.
You can, and Edom probably has better coffins to transport these guys in. In fact, you would. So, the question as far as Orlok goes, do you want to send him on his own way to do his own devices, or are you going to try to keep him around? Orlok says he would prefer to go out on his own.
Antal is very wary of sending a powerful vampire out on his own.
Orlok thinks if you keep him there, before long, he's just going to eat you in your sleep. He goes, and he explains it very matter-of-factly. He goes, eventually you will get tired, and I will have a moment of weakness. Your face comes right off your body.
Not like keeping with us, but keeping in like a
attaché, like
yeah, like a secret area for him to like have like consistent food and like it's like a base basically.
Here's what he says. Yeah, he says, "You can seal me back up, and I won't be able to get out."
Oh wow, he's really trusting us. That's interesting.
Well, think about it. He goes, I could not trust you, or I could trust you. And he kind of explains it this way. He goes, if I trust you, I get a chance to kill Dracula, take all of his lives, steal his castle, and murder Quincy Morris, and become the greatest vampire that has ever existed. If I don't trust you, we get into a big fight, I end up killing all of you and forget about Dracula and just go back to, like, eating people around Germany. He's like, right now, right now I'm a vampire with dreams. And he goes, and he says, I've had some fresh blood, so I'm not like prone to my compulsions just yet. He goes, but if I don't get more blood soon, I'm going to go back to all my compulsions, and I must do it.
We should seal him up in our place, and I need to learn this stupid ritual because I want to kill this dude at some point because Antal is not having vampire lords lording hand. Yeah, okay, so we can seal him up back in his lead coffin, yeah. That means we don't have to carry it around everywhere, which will be super nice.
Yeah, it's like I put it in like a kind of like a hidden basement safe house. I was like this big giant fan, and in the center of this room is just this upstanding like iron coffin with all this dirt around it.
Yeah, and you know what? What if we set up a booby trap around it? So if he was lying and does try and escape, like there's like ground silver and like holy water and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's like a bucket
and
over.
You have enough mechanics, and I have 1 point of mechanics. We can like figure that out, yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
A vampire killing Rube Goldberg machine. He gets out like garlic goes rolling down a slide and shoots out. Some holy water splashes him in the face, and then a stake comes up into his heart. He's just like,
and then there's a fan that blows silver dust into the air.
It's great.
Oh, that's the thing, right? Like, because there's a fan, I imagine it's like it blows like silver particles within this.
There you go, yeah. So he
has to breathe them in. Orlok's curious because he's just kind of looking, and he looks at Antal and he goes, "Is it just you two that travel alone, or are there more of you?"
I'm like, "You'll find out."
He goes, "No, you'll tell me." And like that's like what he says too. And I need you to make a stability check.
He's trying to.
He's not trying to mesmerize you, but he's trying to get information out of you.
Okay. My stability is currently 6. I'll spend 1 point.
Also, just so you know, mechanically, like this guy is terrifying because like he can make mini attacks in a round and things like that. So if a fight does break out, he's scary. Same with Dracula; they're both scary.
Not antagonize him. Yeah. 6 plus 1. Oh no, I forgot the R. Sorry. R. Oops, I failed. I failed miserably.
Who else do you travel with? And he's getting ready to be sealed. He's like being prepared.
So what would I tell him the whole thing, or would I just say there?
It's up to you.
Okay, I would say we have another associate and many contacts.
And this other associate, who is she? I can tell it's a she by the way your voice changed there for a second.
Would he even know? Like, he would know her. So I just.
You don't know who Jisoo is.
Yeah. So I just say a lady who is very skilled. Oh, right. He's super lustful. Damn.
He's super lustful, and it's almost like he's getting put to bed, and you're telling him an erotic bedtime story you're not even saying anything lewd. It's just the idea that it's like, oh, really? A vampire can dream.
Once, the night the Ivy League acceptances were coming out, one of my friends was so stressed he couldn't sleep. He called me and asked me to tell him an erotic story so he could fall asleep. It was wild. He's like, I can't masturbate. I'm like, what? It was wild. Anyway, weirdest thing to happen to me in my life, probably. Yeah, okay, so we put in bed. I'm really annoyed. And yeah, once we close the coffin, I'm like, why did I just tell him all that? And I start worrying that, oh no, did he do something to me?
All right, and he just kind of relaxes for a second, and then I need you at this point. It's not a sure thing. He says, before I allow myself to be sealed, I need to make sure that you can be trusted. in what way is there any assurance you can give me? Because I really hate to go back into that coffin. It's been a long, 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 long time.
Do we have any like fragment of the bride or something, like piece of her clothing with her smell on it or something, maybe?
That's what I smelled, he said, and his ears twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Thirsty vampires.
We were like relatively intimate quarters with her and stuff. Right?
Yeah. So I think like a handkerchief or something, and there's probably like a bit of blood on there that like she'd smeared like after wiping her mouth clean.
Right.
I just offer it to him and I just say, as I said, we have direct contact to one of the wives.
And now he's very lustful, so hopefully this will be like, you know, the jock strap in the gym that you steal kind of thing, you know? The hanky of the bride.
Yeah.
Stealing jockstrap, Sharung? No.
I have never seen it. That's the porn trope, right?
He takes it, you know, he sees it, and then he looks at it, and then you see him touch it with a finger, and it turns into a rat. His eyes look at Untal's right before... Yes. Untal
is not happy with this.
Not happy at all. And with that, the coffin seals shut with one final squeak.
Like, I hate.
Hey, another raid! Thank you, Dice Priori, for the raid.
Woo!
Thank you. The
last thing, before they come, I shake my head and I'm like, I hate vampires.
They're the worst.
That was gross, yes.
I'm glad even Daequan agrees this time.
So, yeah, let's get so we do have a little bit of time remaining. Let's get our final Antal Daequan bonding scenes before you go back to find Jisoo.
In the bonding scene, I'll become less ominous and actually turn my light back on.
Yeah.
It's getting really dark.
That is Pro Restarter in the game. The great Pro Restarter.
Oh, go on.
Lol. Okay, so so we've sealed the coffin and we're making preparations for that's like generic preparations for. Okay, this is the location we're gonna attack. This is the Jisoo sending us communications. We can just say we're doing that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm doing that, and you know, I'm doing my traffic analysis. You're like getting the communication maybe and stuff, and I'm like, Daequan, were you ever planning on telling us you were a Duke of Edom?
Realistically,
saying it very nonchalantly. Because remember, he did say we all have our secrets, right? That we are that we keep. So I'm just like curious, like, were you ever planning on telling us that, knowing that Edom was also hounding us?
No, I wasn't.
So were you not? Edom destroyed not G. What's Lily's character's name? Sorry.
T.
Edom destroyed T's club. Edom was instrumental in turning my friend. Were you never gonna use your influence to stop them from doing all this?
Correction. Edom didn't turn your friend. And Edom did not destroy. That was Dracula himself.
All Dracula. Okay. So I'll say Edom was threatening us and trying to, like, you know, put heat on us. Were you never going to use your influence to stop that?
I already did. Don't you remember I saved your life from the jack?
And then I shake my head. I'm like, okay, like kind of. I'm like, I wish you trusted us enough with this information, Daequan.
It wasn't about trust. We both work in the same fields. We all, like you said, we have secrets and assets.
And I nod. I'm getting Antal is clearly getting soft, right? Over the last 5 weeks, he's gone through a lot. 5 weeks ago, Antal would not have asked a silly question like that, right?
Yeah, and I think Daequan notices it, and they just kind of like lean back and just say, they kind of like pull down their like shirt and they show their like geometric tattoo.
Yeah.
You know what this is?
And I look.
This is an encoder. This has all of my information on it, my credentials and my status within Edom. I joined Edom a few years after a mission in Africa went bad. one of my outposts was raided by a bride of Dracula for resources, if you know what that means.
And I shudder. Because I have been a resource.
Mm-hmm. It was Elvis that saved me that day. And been working with them ever since.
And so that like admission or like truth that is the truth, right?
Yeah, it's the truth.
So that truth that he says actually like mollifies Antal a lot, right? Because he's like, okay, Daequan actually telling me something real about Edom, and that makes me like, okay, good. Daequan, because he was starting to distrust you slightly, and he's like, okay, I still don't want to tell you that I want to kill the vampire stuff, all that stuff, but I'm still like, okay, he wouldn't have told me that if he was completely gonna mess us up and all that stuff, right? And Antal nods. Antal says, because he didn't really outright say it before. He's like, when I left the bureau or agency or whatever, I haven't decided which agency I was in. So whatever, the agency, I was completely burnt out. My whole life since then, for the last few years, taking me years to figure out stuff about this conspiracy, then meeting Jisoo and things, because that's why I have no vampirology or occult study at all, right? It took me years to figure out anything. My entire life since then have been taking down the vampire conspiracy, and if I cannot take down the vampire conspiracy, I do not know what I am good for at all. Because I'm not gonna go back to just killing people without knowing like why and what. I can't do that.
Here's how I see it. For me, at least. It's not about stopping the vampire conspiracy. It's like trying to stop people making children. There will always be newer vampires unless we can find some kind of strain that can target them all. That has not yet been proven. My goal is to tip the weighing scales, to alter the balance enough so that enough, as you said, good people are in enough positions of power to make things better.
And he nods, and then he laughs like sadly. He's like, good people, in a way that he means who isn't even a good person anymore. I thought I was a good person, and then I look at how many people I've poisoned. Does that make me good? But I laugh, and I'm like, okay, we should get back to analyzing this data.
Yeah.
When
the scene ends there, it was like analyzing, drinking tea.
Drinking tea, comparing.
This time I made sure. We are in Germany where there are a lot of Turks, right? I have made sure to get Turkish coffee.
Fine Turkish coffee. The final shot is as your van pulling away, the sun rise on the horizon as you're making your way to your secret jet that you will then decide how you're going to approach the HMS Proserpina. And with that, we end the session for Night's Black Agents, the Dracula Dossier, with 2 players, Pro and Charung. And so
that was good.
Yeah, it was fun.
You guys met a vampire and then enjoyed.
Yeah, it's cool because now we're hitting the latter half of the campaign. We are meeting vampires left and right. In the beginning, we're like, where are the vampires? What's happening? And now we're like, new vampire. Different subspecies.
Here's the thing, too. You had the lead to the dead house early on.
Right, that's true.
And you could have gone there.
As soon as we got those documents in London, we figured out the dead house. Yeah.
But if we did do that though, we would have not gotten the kind of negotiation that we did, because we probably would have had to fight the vampire.
Yeah, and we would have died or run away or something. Yeah.
You would have ended up Orlok's minions. New campaign, the Orlok Dossier.
Now we're playing Undying, and no longer are we playing Night's Black Agents.
So, glad everyone enjoyed in chat. We are sponsored by Pelgrane Press for this campaign. I'm going to drop a voucher code for you if you can get 20% off of their products related to Night's Black Agents, which is the vampire spy thriller. This is the highly collaborative improvisational Dracula Dossier campaign, which you can check out there. The soundtrack is Dust and Mirrors, which has a variety of artists that have put together the music you hear on the show. We'd like to say thank you to Pelgrane Press for allowing us to use the music to the game. So let's go around and let everyone know where we can find each other online, what projects we have going on, and then call it a day. So, Pro, what's new with you?
Hey, yeah. At the moment now, I am currently producing and releasing an actual play podcast, Shadow of Arcanum. It is a full POC LGBTQ plus podcast. We just had our second episode full release on Friday. So be sure to go check that out. It has Jess on there, who was on the show as a guest, myself, some other prominent POC voices in the community. It is an actual play drama, and yeah, it's a really good, spooky, and
it uses Shadow the Demon Lord, right?
Shadow Demon Lord rule set, but we
really
play in
rule set. Everyone,
I love it. Really is. I really like it. It's very streamlined, but we play in the Critical Role Alexandria world. Nice. So we kind of have a mesh of two there. So some familiarity and some new rules. Nice. Apart from that, I'm just gearing up to run some secret shows. Gonna make it releasing at the end of the month.
So many secrets in game and out of game.
I know, right? I know. But yes, thank you for having me as always, and I enjoyed today's session.
And Sharon.
Yeah, so I am Sharang Biswas. You can find me on Twitter at Sharang Biswas, and that links to most of my other stuff. The project I really want to talk about is Honey and Hot Wax, an anthology of erotic art games, just released last week, also from Pelgrane Press. And actually, I just thought of this, I have a bunch of promo codes. Grant, maybe we can talk about viewers of this show getting some promo codes maybe next time. I think that could be cool. But yeah, it is an anthology of tabletop and live action we're leaning toward live action role-playing games themed on sex and human sexuality in different ways. We go everything from a game that just discuss sex, literally a game where your summer campers talking about the embarrassing moments your parents had trying to give you the sex talk. And there are also games that ask as game mechanics for you to perform sex acts with the players you're playing with. So it's a very interesting anthology. We got 2 grants from the Effing Foundation for Sex Positivity to make it happen and to pay our artists a fair amount of money, because as you might know, game designers are often thrown under the bus in terms of pay from arts organizations. But here we really wanted to do this, and we have a really diverse team of designers, and we've been working really well with Pelgrane, who has been helping us a lot. And check it out on the Pelgrane website. Again, it's called Honey and Hot Wax. Also, a portion of our sales is going towards sex-positive charities, as well as going towards every artist, every game designer who made stuff for the game. Everyone's getting royalties. So do check that out, and maybe Grant and I can chat, and next week we might have some promo codes for that book. And if you're a drive-through person, it'll be available on Drive-Through RPG next week.
And if you want it now, I went ahead and dropped the Pelgrane Press a link right there in chat. Do check it out. I bought it. I've gone through it a few times, and I have some ideas for some behind a paywall streams. No, just kidding.
Only fans.
Only grants. No, it's a very good read. I really admire all the designers involved with it. We plugged it on my personal Twitch stream last night because the audience was curious about what was going on. It had some folks that worked on the game in chat. So as for me, I'm just an old chunk of coal. I'm the Twitch producer here at WebDM's Twitch channel. I am planning new shows down the horizon. Follow me on Twitter and hit me up if you're interested in being involved. I like creating opportunities for people. And the number one thing this show was established for was creating opportunities for fabulous role players such as Sharong and Pro and just mayor. So again, appreciate everything that everyone has done. As always, we're going to leave the way we started. The intro will be our outro. Have an excellent remainder of your day. And for those of you watching on YouTube, if you would like voucher codes or links to buy these game products, look below the video. For those of you on Twitch, they're posted in chat. Goodbye.